Hello, boys and girls. Today I'm going to share with you how to solve the two problems at the back of this book. And we're going to do this by doing the guess and check method. So the first question in the activity is to find the numbers to fill in these boxes. All right. And we are supposed to use only 1, 2, 6 without repetition. That means we can fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we need to also ensure the sum of these numbers that is on each side, right? That means the sum here on the left, sum here on the right, and the sum of the row below. They will all show the same sum, the same total when we add up these three numbers. Now, how do we do that? So again, we are doing guess and check. There's no fixed way or a fixed place to put a particular number. So that is why we call it a guess and check. We guess. Now, let's say I want to guess that the first box here on top is 1. Now, you may wonder, where else can I put 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6? And what should be the sum of the numbers, the three numbers on each side? There's no way for us to know until we work out something. Now, let's say if I randomly put a 2 here, and a 3 here, a 4 here, and a 5, and a 6. This is a guess. We don't know whether this is the answer. So what should we do next? Of course, we need to check. How do we check? Let's find out the sum on each side. The sum here on the left, 1 plus 2 plus 1 would be 7. And the sum here is 10. 1 plus 3 plus 6. And finally, the sum below would be 15. And obviously, this is not the right places to place these numbers because the sum of each side is different. So let's try another set of numbers. Again, we do not repeat the numbers. Now, does it mean I have to change all the numbers? No, that's not necessary. But I may have some interesting ideas at the back of my head to try out and not randomly place these numbers. So for example, I would like to spread out all the small numbers like 1, 2, and 3. So I put them at the corners of this triangle. And then what about 4, 5, and 6? I may want to place 4 here in between 2 and 3. I may want to place 5 in between 1 and 2 and 6 in between 1 and 3. So now this is just again a strategy. And we still need to check for the answer. And if we check the answer, we realize that again on the left it is 8, on the right the sum is 10, and at the bottom the sum is 9. Again, the sum of each side is not the same, but it is close enough. As you can see, it's 8, 9, and 10. So do I need to restart everything? No. Sometimes we can make adjustment. So how do we make an adjustment? Let's say I may want to change the position of 5 and 6. Let's say if I make it 6 and 5 instead. And now I'll check. So if I check on the left now, 1 plus 6 plus 2, it is 9. On the right, 1 plus 5 plus 3 is 9 as well. And the bottom, no change, it is still 9. And yes, we have found one of the combinations. All right, so 999, and you have this 6 numbers placed in the position that we can find. Okay, and if you look at the answers in the book, this is actually the first answer. And of course, we should continue with the same way of guessing. Now, we may again want to strategize. Now, what if I place the big numbers at the corners? All right. Now, let's try this. Now, if I want to place the bigger numbers, which is 4, 5, and 6, at the corners of this triangle, now, what would be the arrangement of these numbers like? Okay, let's say I start with 4, 5, and 6. Then again, I want to spread out the bigger numbers and place the smaller numbers in between. So I may want to place the smallest number, which is 1, in between the two bigger numbers, 5 and 6. All right, I may want to place my 2 here, and I may want to place my 3 here. And then now I will check again. So when I check now, on the left, 4 plus 3 plus 5, it is 12. On the right, 4 plus 2 plus 6, it is also 12. And at the bottom, the row at the bottom will be 5 plus 1 plus 6. That will be 12 as well. Not bad. We have found the combinations for the second set. Right? So we will continue to do the same to find out more possible combinations. Right? Again, there are answers in the book, but try not to peep at the answers and try your guess and check strategy and to figure out the correct combinations of these 6 numbers. Okay, and it is really fun to do such questions. It's like solving a puzzle. All right, let's try to look for the other 2 combinations, and good luck. Okay, next we are going to try the second question. First, let us read the question. Debbie drew a total of 24 cars and motorcycles. She drew 4 wheels for each car and 2 wheels for each motorcycle. She drew a total of 62 wheels. How many cars did Debbie draw? So this is a case where we need to use the guess and check method to find the answer because we have no idea how many cars and how many motorcycles are there. We only know a total of 24, but it can be 1 car and 23 motorcycles, or maybe 10 cars and 14 motorcycles. We are not sure, but we need to work it out to check if that is the combination that we want. And again, what we are going to do will be the guess and check. That means we will assign a number, or we guess a number of cars and a number of motorcycles. Then we check if they indeed give us a total of 62 wheels. And then if it does, then we have guessed the correct numbers. All right. Now, what about the working? Let us first do this. To answer this question, best way to show our working is to put it on a table. Because, okay, drawing a table will give us a very clear visuals of what we are drawing. All right, so I draw a table and I put it down in 5 columns. All right. The first column will be the number of cars. The number of cars. All right, and then with this number of cars, we'll check, okay, or we'll put down the number of wheels. Likewise, we have the number of motorcycles and the number of wheels again. And finally, we want to find the total number of wheels. All right, the total number of wheels. So let us start doing our guess and check. Let's say we want to find out if there are 10 cars or 14 wheels. We can put that down. But usually, I would start with guessing perhaps half of them are motorcycles and the other half of them are cars. So I'll split 24 into 12 cars and 12 motorcycles. All right. Now, since there are two wheels on each motorcycle, the number of wheels on motorcycles will be 24. And if there are four wheels on each car, there will be 48 wheels on each car. Now, how do we find the total number of wheels? We will just have to add these two numbers up and we'll get a sum of 72. Sometimes, in fact, most of the time, we would not be able to guess the correct answer in our first working, right? If you do, that means you're really lucky. But what we do is not going to be useless because once we find that our sum, which is 72, is not the same as the sum given in the question, which is 62, we will be able to make adjustment. Now, in this case, we have calculated based on our guess, 12 cars and 12 motorcycles, that there will be 72 wheels. And what Debbie has drawn will give her 62 wheels. That means we have drawn too many wheels, right? Now, drawing too many wheels will tell us that we have drawn too many cars, right? Or we have assigned too big a number for the cars. So what we do is to reduce the number of cars in our next working, in our next guess. Now, in this case, let's say I'm going to guess 8 now, right? I'm going to reduce the number of cars. Now, since there are 24 cars and motorcycles, 24 minus 8, there will be 16 motorcycles. Okay, let's calculate the number of wheels. So for the total number of wheels for the cars, 8 times 4, 32. And for the total number of wheels for the motorcycles, 2 times 16. That is also 32. And when we add them up, the sum of the wheels will be 64. Now, again, we'll make a comparison. 64, it is still a little bigger, okay, than 62. So we are close to the final answer. And again, by having too many wheels means that we have too many cars. All right. Again, in my next calculation, I will adjust and make the number of cars even smaller than our second calculation. So in this case, since the difference is not a lot, we are just 2 wheels more than the 62, the total of 62. All I need to do is to make it slightly less. Maybe I have 1 car less. Let's guess that there are 7 cars and 17 motorcycles. All right. Now, again, make sure the total number of cars and motorcycles will still be 24. All right. So 7 and 17 will give us 24. Now, let's work out the number of wheels. How many wheels are there for the cars? If you have 7 cars, 7 times 4, 28. And for the total number of wheels for the motorcycles, 17 times 2, that will give us 34. And adding the 2 up will give us 62. And that is exactly what Gabby has drawn. Okay, the 24 cars and motorcycles that give her 62 wheels, 62. And yes, we have found the answer. How many cars did Debbie draw? And you can see in this table is clearly showing that there are 7 cars. So Debbie has drawn, or Debbie drew 7 cars. Okay, so it is fun. Again, it's not difficult, but In this case, drawing a table and putting this information in the table will make it even clearer to us, okay? And our information will be neatly displayed. That will help us in seeing how to adjust our guess and check again. All right?